Okay. So tonight we are going to get started in supported fish. So if it's been a while since you've done that one, I will walk you through. If you know where you're going, go ahead. If you have blocks or books, you can use 2 blocks for supported fish. You can use pillows. That's what I'm going to do. So it's really up to you and your comfort level of, how you want to get set up. But if you use blocks, you would just make a T with the blocks, one behind your head, the other behind your back. If you're using pillows, you'll just stack up your pillows in any kind of configuration that feels good. And then you'll start to come down onto your spine. And as you're coming down, you can either adjust your pillows so that your head can rest on the pillows, or if you want more of an opening for your neck as well, you can drape and let your head hang over your pillows, so you'll get like a neck stretch, and then you also your head, you'll kind of just bring it below your heart a little bit. And then if you take your arms, you can goal post them, and they may be very far from the ground right now depending on how many props you're using, but just allow gravity to help you open up in your chest area. You should feel some tightness happening right now, especially if you are hunched over all day on your computer or you're texting a lot, driving, all that good stuff. So just coming to a position that feels good to you. For your legs, you can either place them with your knees bent, feet planted firmly on the ground. You can also extend your legs out long into like a Shavasana type shape. You can also do Supta Baddha Konasana legs, so bringing the soles of your feet to touch, just to get like a really good low back opener if you have achy low back stuff going on. So again, just find what feels good to you. Get your wiggles out, start to settle in. Close your eyes whenever you found your shape that you want to get started in. And just start to connect with your breath. Maybe you haven't thought about your breath all day. You take for granted that your body does that for you. You don't have to think about it. So just coming down, starting to be in your body, feeling sensations, any areas of tightness that you might be experiencing right now as we open our practice. Sending breath there. Anything that happened earlier today or earlier this week, just putting that aside, knowing that right now you are investing this next 60 minutes on yourself, and anything that you need in class tonight, you might want a different pose than I'm calling out for. Please listen to yourself. You know your body best. You know what you need. So my class format is always just a suggestion. If you want to take something further, if it's not your jam, you really hate the pose, you want to do something else, go for it. You're just honoring yourself always on and off your mat. So it's just a really good reminder that, if something's not serving you in yoga, you can do your own thing. Something's not serving you in life, you can also do your own thing. Things will happen, and you just gotta use your breath to get through sometimes, but just know that you are strong and you can handle anything that comes your way. So perhaps now is a good time to set an intention for your practice tonight. Maybe you want to let things go, or just accept what is, or not take things personally, or whatever you need from your practice tonight, whatever has been on your mind or bothering you or whatever, just what do you need? Let that come to your mind. Take a deep breath in. Big sigh, let something go. Again, just coming back to your breath, knowing that your yoga practice is here for you to unwind, undo, let things go, I talk a lot in our class about, honoring yourself and listening to your intuition and, trusting yourself to make decisions and all that good stuff. And it's so much easier for me to tell you all that than to practice it myself. But I am finally doing that thing where I'm going to listen to what I really need to do, which is to take a little bit of a break before this baby arrives. So next week is going to be the last week that I teach yoga for a while and maybe forever. Because who knows who's going to want virtual by the time that I'm ready to come back. So if you've been on this yoga journey with me, I'm so thankful for you. So thankful that you show up for yourself and for class. And I can't believe I've been teaching virtual yoga now for, almost a year. I can't believe we're, still in this a year later. But I, want to be able to rest fully and enjoy the last few months of my pregnancy or however many weeks I have left. And not that I thoroughly don't enjoy my evenings with all of you, but putting class together and all that has been a lot. And it's one of those things where it's like something's gotta give. I gotta, let things go and not do all the things for once. So finally growing up a little bit and doing the bigger things. So if that is what you get out of tonight's class of just, honoring yourself, honoring what you want, honoring what you really should be doing. Maybe you think you need to do all the things, and maybe the thing you really need is rest. I tend to fill myself up with all the stuff that I need to achieve and accomplish because it's just how I'm wired. And lately I have found that I actually need rest more than all that stuff. So that is also you, just friendly reminder, it's okay to rest. You don't have to earn your rest. You can enjoy your rest. You deserve to rest. So take time for yourself. But I will be releasing old yoga classes while I'm on leaves on my YouTube. So you can take old classes, pretend like you're taking class. I hope you still, honor your yoga practice and continue your yoga practice. And of course, I'm always here to advise if you need certain poses for certain things that are going on, or just, want to talk through whatever, I'm always here. So again, thank you for your dedication to your yoga practice. It's been truly an honor to be with all of you. And on that note, take a deep breath in. Big open mouth, sigh out, let it go. And on your time, when you're ready, start to roll to one side or the other, just to come off of your props, whatever those are. And you'll just move those out of the way. So you'll get them out from behind your head. And then stretch back out on your back all the way flat. I'm not going to do that because it's not good for me to lay flat on my back right now. But, just take a big pendulum shape. So extend your arms and legs out like a big star. Just imagine like you're a giant star, and just feel the shape that you're making with your body right now. All that space you've created in your chest area should feel less tight there. And then bring your knees in towards your chest. And then if you want to, you can slowly rock and roll till you can come up to a seated position. If that's just too much for you, you can always just come up gracefully in another way. And we are going to take a seated forward fold. So you'll definitely want props for this one. If you've got pillows, you can stack pillows up on your legs. Blocks you can stack up between your legs. But before you get all your props situated, just move the fleshy part of your seat to the side so your hip or your seat bones really ground into the mat, and then start to stack up your props. Inhale, take your arms up, your gaze up. So keep reaching towards the ceiling before we move any further. So you should feel a really good stretch on both sides of your body here. So just imagine that you're separating your ribs just a little bit more. You can reach a little bit more towards the ceiling. And then on your exhale, start to hinge forward, reaching toward your toes. And once you can't do that anymore, you feel your spine really rounding, that's when you can come down onto your props. And just let yourself hang heavy here. So you might need more props, you might need to situate your props a little bit. But just take some time to get set up here. Your forward fold is such a great posture to get into, but you want to make sure that you're going to be able to hold it for a few minutes. So get cozy, get your wiggles out, try to stay still once you get there. And if you haven't done so already, close your eyes, tuning back into your breath. And as you exhale, on every exhale, just imagine that you can get your chest just a little bit more closer to your thighs. And you probably will never get to that point where your chest is touching your thighs. I don't think any of us are that bendy, but just picturing that does help open up your low back. It helps your hamstrings start to open up. If you sit all day for work like I do, I hardly move. It's really sad how few steps I get, during the day on any given day now that I'm not in the office anymore. So if that's you as well, you probably have a really tight hamstring situation going on. You might have a tight low back situation going on. So just allow yourself to really get into this pose. Let your head hang heavy here. You should feel the stretch happening in your low back, in your hamstrings. Might feel it in your upper back too, just depending on how you're situated on your props. But again, can you just imagine that your chest can touch your thighs and you can get so much deeper into this on every exhale. So don't force it. You should never feel pain or that you're trying to force your way down. But can you let gravity do the work? Can you use your breath to do some work there, to just continue to open up, continue to expand. Paying attention to your breath here. We're about halfway through this posture, so you might find that you can change the position of your props. If you want to try to get a little bit closer, you might remove a prop or change props to their side. If you are like, heck no, I'm cozy where I'm at, don't force it. Stay where you're at. Enjoy the stretch. Forward folds are so good for resetting our body and for giving ourselves a little bit of a break. Obviously, we get all of the benefits of stretching and lengthening our body, but it also just kind of resets our central nervous system. And if you've been super anxious or have a lot going on, or just had a really stressful day maybe, this is a really good pose to really slow you down, get you back in your body, which is, what you need when you are feeling anxious or upset is just grounding. Obviously we need a lot more than that, right? Grounding isn't going to fix all of our problems, but being back in your body and being, control of your breath and aware of your body and all that stuff, it just helps you stop spinning out in your mind and being in the present moment. What's happening right now? You're in yoga, you're in a seated forward fold of some kind of variation. You hear the sound of my voice, you hear the music that's playing, and you're in your own space. And you probably, even with your eyes closed, can picture the room around you. So maybe you do that for a moment, just picturing the furniture or other objects that might be in the room around you, visualizing those. Maybe you don't even pay attention to that very often, and you might be like, I wonder what is actually right in front of me or right next to me. We don't pause very often to appreciate the small things that might be right in front of us. So using this as an opportunity to really ground yourself to where you're at. You're on your yoga mat of some kind. You've got some kind of device to connect to your virtual yoga. You can even think about the clothes that you're wearing, how they feel on your body. Just tuning into all that's happening around you. Take a deep breath in. Big open mouth, sigh out, let it go. Very slowly on your next inhale, when you're ready to move, you can start to slowly come out of this. Again, taking your time, don't rush anything. You'll just move your props off to the side. And it might feel good to you to bend your legs, and you can bring your palms behind your low back with your fingertips facing your glutes and just windshield wiper your knees from side to side. Loosen up your low back. Taking your time, taking any other movement that might feel good. And then we are going to head to a tabletop position to transition to our child's pose. So however you want to get into that is your call. But toe tips to touch, your knees will be up as wide as your mat. They'll sink down into your heels. And then you can start to crawl yourself out to your child's pose, placing your forehead on either your mat. If that's not accessible to you or doesn't feel good because it's too much of a lat stretch, you can always place a pillow or a block or a book, rolled up blanket, anything that will help get your forehead down, connected to something. I stress that because it's another good grounding technique. And when you're really anxious, just putting a little bit of pressure on the middle of your forehead and coming back to your breath actually is a really soothing technique. So, you can do it to yourself. If you have a partner, you can ask them to do it. You can use an object to do it. So the ground, a block, whatever, just to get a little bit of pressure in that area. And then again, focusing on your breath really does help ground you. So if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm totally spinning out, or I'm just feeling extra anxious, you can use that. Child's pose is obviously another, you can do it in child's pose. You don't have to be in child's pose to do that. So that's always like something that you can just do. Coming into child's pose and doing that, you get a bonus because child's pose is also a really good grounding pose. You're very close to the ground. You feel the ground right beneath you. You also get the benefits of opening up your hips, your low back, your lats from, your upper body stretch that's happening. It's just a really good one to come into. And if you're working from home, no one can tell that you're dropping into a child's pose in the middle of your work day. If you're, got a crazy email or you're about to present in a meeting or got out of a really hard conversation or meeting or whatever, come into a child's pose. It does really help. you know, or any other yoga pose for that matter. So you have these tools that you can use throughout your workday, or any other day of the week. So just connecting to your breath, making note of any areas of tension in your body, letting those things go, breathing through anything that comes up for you, any thought, emotion, just honoring it, don't judge it. So often we feel like we need to either rush through our feelings because, oh, I just want to feel better, or oh, I just want to forget about this, or whatever. But we don't let the emotion actually really process. We can't release it fully if we do that. So then it ends up just being stored somewhere, and we don't realize that either right away. And then you'll do a yoga pose and be like, oh yeah, there's some stored something here. It's that thing that you were ignoring. So sometimes it's just good to process things, let them come up for you, be mad, be upset about whatever it is, or be sad. It's okay, you know, we're human, we can experience emotion, good and bad. That's what makes us human and so great. Just allowing ourselves to feel the things and let them go through you instead of stored. And then they come up later anyways, usually in some other form, or you might get really sick or hurt or whatever because you're storing stuff instead of processing it. So letting things go. On your next inhale, start to crawl your fingertips back towards your body so that you can come up to a tabletop position. Then you just might want to sway your hips from side to side. And when you're ready, ground your left palm into the mat. Inhale, take your right palm up to the sky. Take your gaze up to your right fingertips. And then bring your right palm through towards your left side for thread the needle. So you're gonna come down onto your right shoulder. And this might be good for you. If you stay here, just pay attention to your hips. Your left hip might be above your right, so just nudge your hip so that if you were to place a glass of water on the small of your back, it would be able to stay there and not fall off. So just be paying attention to that. If you want more, if you're like, okay, this feels fine, but I want to get more into my shoulder, you can extend your left fingertips toward the top of your mat and use your palm as an anchor to try to really get into this right shoulder a little bit more. So it's really up to you how much you want to get into the side. If it's too much to be on your knees like this, if you have knee injury or it just doesn't feel right, you can always come down to child's pose leg and then get into this. So that's a good variation. You can always also roll up your mat or roll up some blankets or put pillows underneath your knees too if you're having some issues. Finding what works for you. Again, this is your class. Find what works. And whenever you get into this fully, close your eyes once you're there. You should feel a stretch happening on the outside of your right shoulder. You feel it in your upper body as well. And then depending on your leg variation, you might be getting a hip stretch, low back stretch, just again, depending on how you're situated. Finding, again, what feels good to you and your body. And honoring that always. And if you've settled in, just again, pay attention to your hips, seeing if you nudge them to be even just a little bit. Closing your eyes, getting really into your breath here, trying to slow that down. If you've extended your left palm toward the top of your mat, start to slide that in towards your face. Really ground down into your left palm. Inhale, bring your right palm back up to the sky, and then take some arm circles in one direction just to release that side, and then when you're ready, going in the opposite direction. And we are just going to swap that out. So you'll start to ground into your right palm. Inhale, take your left palm up to the sky, look at your fingertips. Exhale, flip your palm, bring it through to your right side, coming down onto that left shoulder. And then you can stay here, change your leg variation, just pay attention to your hips again, are they square? And then you can extend your right palm to the top of your mat if you want to get a further stretch. So really up to you, each side's going to feel different. Honor that. Make sure that it feels good in your body. And again, that's gonna look different on each side. It's gonna look different from week to week. So you might find that you need props on this side. You might not be able to get into it as deep on this side, or maybe this is your good side. So just listening to your body and how you're feeling. And most people are right-handed, so the other side might have been a little bit more intense for you. But if you feel more tension in this side, it just is how you're carrying it. You could have a lot of tension in your upper back. You might be overcompensating for your dominant arm if you are right-handed, but your left side is giving you more of an issue. So just paying attention to that, to have more mindfulness throughout your day, and why you're storing tension up here, but also, what are you doing throughout your day that might be causing you to be so out of balance or sides not to feel equal. So again, just be more mindful throughout your day. Just help you pay more attention to these things. Also makes it so that you're actually present in your day and not just racing through it. And I know that some of us rush through the work week just to get to the weekend. But then, you lose 5 days just to get to the weekend. And that's a lot of time that goes by really fast. And before you know it, years go by and you're like, holy cow, it's been a really long time. Like I'm coming up on 11 years and my work anniversary soon. And I'm just like, how have I been here for 11 years? How has that happened? It literally feels like yesterday when I first started. And I cannot believe that it's been that long. So just goes to show that if you work for the weekend or you rush through work or you're just super busy at work and you don't pay attention to the days, that 11 years can fly by in what feels like a flash. And it's a substantial amount of time in your life. It could be a huge portion of your work career and everything like that. So again, just having gratitude for the day-to-day and the lessons you get out of each day and the growth you experience each day through the experiences that you have, through the things that come up. You've extended your right palm long. Start to bring it back toward your face, grounding into your right palm. Inhale, bring your left palm back up to the sky. And then you'll take some arm circles on this side in one direction. And then maybe you'll swap that out to the opposite side. And when you're ready, come down to your back. We are going to take our hip opener on our back tonight. I am going to use pillows since I should not be laying flat on my back. But if laying flat on your back feels cool to you, please do it. You'll just come down all the way down to your spine. And once you're there, you can bend your knees. So ground your feet into your mat, bend your knees. And then you'll take your right knee in towards your chest just so that you can drape your right ankle over your left knee. And this might be good. You might be like, yep, I can feel a stretch in my hips. I'm pretty good here. If you want more, you have a few different options. So I'll walk you through that. You can use your right palm to press your right knee away. And that might be a really good stretch for you. You might be like, yep, this is where I'm going to stay. If you want to take it further, you can start to bend your left knee in toward your chest for this figure four shape. You can grab behind your left thigh and interlace your fingers. And this might be good. If you still need more, you can use your right elbow to nudge your right knee away and really get into that hip flexor on the right side. So again, taking this where you feel good. This is your practice. This is a supine pigeon pose. So if this doesn't feel good to you, do something else. We have other hip opener variations. I will warn you if you decide to, do your own thing, and take traditional pigeon or sleeping swan or frog or whatever your jam is. We are between sides going to do a supine twist figure four variation. So I will just caution you, do what you want to do, but in between sides we are going to do a twist. So that being said, wherever you're at, just breathing through, feeling the stretch that's happening in your right side. If you are like me and have tight low back, tight hamstrings, store a lot of crap in your hips, pigeon typically, even supine does not feel the greatest. So just breathing through, know that you're releasing tension here. You're creating space for some really good energy. You're letting stuff go that you don't need it to store in your hips anymore. And making space for that good stuff. Not so you fill yourself back up, but just so you have room and you can expand and grow and not be so weighed down by all that stuff. Breathing here. Close your eyes if you haven't done so already. If you are bringing your legs in closer towards your chest and you're grabbing on behind your left leg and you're using your other elbow to push your knee away, think for a moment about if you're creating tension in your upper body to do that. So seeing if you can relax a little bit, let your shoulders roll down your back, move your shoulders away from your ears a little bit, kind of loosen that up. Don't take it so seriously. You don't have to have the most perfect, supine pigeon. You can allow yourself to relax a little bit here. So again, just finding what feels good to you. Honoring that always. If you've taken another variation, this is where you'll want to come down to your spine. Meet us where we're at here in our supine pigeon. And if you have grabbed onto behind your thigh, start to release your foot back down to the ground, keeping the figure 4 shape. But this is where you'll tee out your arms. And then on your next exhale, start to drop your, right foot toward the left side for a figure 4 supine twist. So this might be way too intense. You're like, heck no, that's not happening. Undo your legs, just come to normal supine twist, no worries. Don't force it. Finding a shape that feels good to you. If you can get your right foot down to touch the ground on the left side, awesome. Don't be a hero. Don't try to do that if it's just not, go in there, finding, again, a shape that feels good to you. So that's going to look different for everyone. Just the goal is to get into this twist and not to worry about, again, how your legs are and all that good stuff. For your upper body, just pay attention. If your shoulder blades are both not on the mat, just seeing if you can rotate your chest open so that both of your shoulder blades can be on the mat. And then if you want to, you can take your gaze over toward the right side of your mat, your right fingertips, and then softly close your eyes. Wherever your gaze ends up landing, just, fully get into the twist and whatever feels good to you. And know that each night's going to be different. You're going to feel different in your body. We did different poses than we do in other classes. So getting into this might feel a little bit different, but just honoring yourself and where you're at right now, always. And twisting is really good to not only open up low back and your hip area, but typically we aren't holding twists like this throughout your day. I mean, you might, I guess, but probably not. I mean, you might twist to like grab something or whatever, but you're probably not holding them for several minutes. So it's just an opportunity to really like massage your internal organs, create space in your body that you, in a way that you normally don't do. It also gives us an opportunity to really like rinse out and release. So if you just can imagine, like you have a really wet rag and you need to wring it all the way out to get all that water out. It's kind of the imagery that I like to use when I'm in a twist, just to visualize that happening in my body. Obviously not really happening. But you're, twisting yourself in a way that you're gonna make room for some good stuff by twisting it out. So just picture that while you're laying here. And if you're having trouble, really settling down into this, or your thoughts are racing, or you're just having trouble relaxing, you can start to bring your awareness to your breath. Seeing if you can slow down your breathing a little bit. Really relax into this posture, knowing that you're winding down, you're getting ready for bed in a little bit. That the things that you think are such a big deal today, hopefully weeks, months, years from now, you'll look back and be like, that sucked, but really made me stronger, or I got through it, or I learned a lot from that experience. Maybe you learned what not to do in a lot of cases from other people, which is the best lesson to learn, right? Like, you get to observe other people making mistakes and you're like, wow, yeah, I would never do that. Filing that one away to never touch with a 10-foot pole, right? Or you make your own mistake and you're like, man, yeah, probably shouldn't have done that. Good lesson for me. Filing that one away, and I'm not going to do that again. So, there's always silver lining in things. I know sometimes when you're in it, it's really hard to see it. And sometimes things just really just suck, and that's okay. Like, it's allowed, you're allowed to cry, you're allowed to be upset. You should be, like we talked about earlier, just with feeling emotions and allowing them to happen, and not just saying you're fine when you're really not fine. And sometimes things need to happen for us to really fully learn, or fully grow, or fully get, pushed out of our comfort zone enough to do something about it. So yeah, think about that too. And when you're ready, we are going to come out of this twist. So make your way out, however that is for you. And then before we switch sides, just rock your knees from side to side, loosen up your low back, get out of that however you want, but make space. And then we are gonna switch it out to the other side. So if you want to take supine pigeon again, or if you're going to your other variation, go do that. But if you're doing supine pigeon with us, you'll bring your left ankle, draping it over your right knee. And then again, this side's gonna be different. So this might feel good. You might be like, yep, I'm staying here. You can always place your left palm on your left knee, nudging that away, creating space in your body. Or you can take it further by grabbing on behind your right thigh this time, bringing your legs in towards your chest. And then if you need that final nudge, you can always use your left elbow to push your left knee away from you. Again, to create that expansion. You should feel it in your low back, in your left hip area. Again, not painful. So if you need to adjust or take something else, please do that. You know your body best. Listen to it always. You're in your own space. You can do whatever the heck you want. So if you're like, yep, I'm ready for Shavasana, I'm skipping all this stuff, go right ahead. If you need to lay in Shavasana for the full time, you always can do that too. Your yoga practice is yours. I have been to yoga teachers who don't honor that, and they try to force you into something that you're like, hey, that doesn't feel good, and hey, don't tell me what to do. So that can turn a lot of people off from yoga. But my philosophy with my teaching, like even if you were all in a class together with me, you should do your own thing. If you're being safe and honoring your body, go for it. I will always respect and honor that, and you should too. So whatever feels good to you, respect and honor that. And it's just yoga. So don't ever beat yourself up if you aren't feeling like doing something, or you can't do something because you maybe have an injury or a physical limitation and it's just not working out. Like my practice obviously has changed a lot being pregnant. I can't do a lot of the stuff that I normally do. And instead of getting upset about it, I just go, okay, well, I'll just modify or do something else, or just lay here, or just sit around, and that's okay. I'm thoroughly enjoying, not doing anything. So it's all good. And I know it's temporary, and, it's just something to keep in mind too with your yoga practice. It may evolve. You might, have an injury or something going on, and you might not be able to do something, and it's okay. There's a lot of other options. And again, just resting is great. Your physical yoga practice is one of the 8 limbs of yoga. So there's 7 other limbs of yoga. So your yoga practice doesn't go away just if you're physically not able to do yoga, or you have to physically modify a lot like I am right now. I'm still practicing yoga every single day. Maybe it's through, how I treat myself, how I treat other people, the things that I experience or allow myself to be present. Like there's just so much more beyond, again, the physical part of yoga that you can enjoy and experience if your physical practice is limited for whatever reason. So always keep that in mind too. And, of course, the one of the limbs is how you treat yourself. And so honoring that and respecting that too. Being kind and compassionate to ourselves. On your next exhale, we are going to take the twist on this side. So if you've moved on to something else, come back to your back. And then when you're ready, you'll start to drop your left foot toward the right side of your mat. And if you're like, yep, nope, that figure 4 is not happening, just come out of it. Bring your knees down to that side. Again, honoring your space, doing what feels good to you. Listening to that, honoring that always. For me, being on my back for much longer isn't feeling good, so I'm coming and setting up. And again, I'm listening to, what I need, what my body needs. So please do that as well. And once you have fully twisted into whatever shape that is, or maybe you're taking something else entirely, if you're in your twist, again, pay attention to your upper back. Are both of your shoulder blades firmly grounded on the mat? If not, can you rotate your chest open? That might mean you need to come out of your twist a little bit to make that happen. It's more important that both of your shoulder blades are on the mat than how deep your twist is. So pay attention to that. You can always bring your gaze toward your left fingertips. And then if you do that, close your eyes. If you are wherever you're at, close your eyes. Just again, to fully be in this pose. And then start to pay attention to your breathing here. Is your breath happening in your chest area? Is it very shallow and rapid? Can you really start to slow it down, bringing it to your belly, allowing your belly to fully expand out on the inhale, so allowing it to fill up like a balloon. And then once you're fully full of all that good air and all that good energy, pausing for a moment and then releasing all of it down so that you can imagine as if your belly button could touch your spine, which for me, that's like such a joke right now because my belly button is like so far out away from my spine than it's ever been before. But just that visual of it, imagining that your belly button could touch your spine just helps you get out all of that extra air. So fully exhaling, letting it all go, and then holding for a beat on empty, like allowing yourself to be fully empty. You've released all that air, and then expand out, fully open. Just again, to fully inhale and exhale, to fully use your belly to help you breathe. It not only helps you reset and just pay attention to your breath, but it causes you to physically be in your body, paying attention to your breathing, helps you ground. And then slowing down your breathing helps you reset your central nervous system a little bit too. So doing a couple rounds of breath like that actually really help reset. And if you just look at it as like, hey, I need a redo here, I need to start over, just try that. You don't have to be in restorative yoga to try it. You can, be in the middle of your work day and do it. People probably won't even notice if you actually are around people. So just, again, paying attention to your breath, being mindful of your breath, seeing if you can slow it down. Feeling this twist fully. And when you're ready, on your next inhale, start to come out of this twist, coming back to neutral. And you might want to sway your knees from side to side. You could come into a happy baby by grabbing onto the outer edges of your feet or perhaps your shins and just really swaying from side to side. Loosen up your low back. Relax. And when you're ready, we are going to make our way to our final resting shape. It's already that time in our practice. So if you've got a wall nearby and you've had a particularly hard day, highly recommend doing legs up the wall. It would be a really good way to help reset fully. If you don't want to try that, or you're just like, I'm cozy where I'm at, I'm staying here, great. Stretch out on your back, come to a shape that feels good to you. You can always place your palms on your belly, just to, again, pay attention to your breathing throughout your Shavasana. If you want to, you can always place them on the ground with your palms facing down for grounding, just to really help you touch down, be present. So your choice on, how you're set up tonight. Just do a quick body scan before you fully relax into your Shavasana for a few minutes. So releasing any tension that you might be holding on to in your face. Perhaps you release your jaw and remove your tongue from the roof of your mouth. Seeing if you can inch your shoulders just a little bit further away from your ears. So just letting them roll down your back. And then scanning further, seeing if you can release any tension in your palms. Maybe you're holding onto some tension in your low back, so just situating your feet a little bit differently, your legs. And then allowing your legs, your feet to hang heavy to either side. And on your next exhale, just fully enjoy your rest here. Closing your eyes if you haven't done so already. And just rest. Your Shavasana is here as long as you need. If you have extra time and are enjoying where you're at right now, just try to challenge yourself to stay in Shavasana for a little longer. Tune out my voice. I will, exit out of Zoom for all of you. You can stay in your space, continuing to relax. And if you do want to work your way out of it, just so that you can hopefully make your way to bed and enjoy your sleep tonight, start to bring a little bit of awareness to your body. Maybe you wiggle your fingers and toes, or just rotate your wrists and ankles. And then slowly making your way to either side for a brief stop in fetal pose, creating a pillow with your forearm. Closing your eyes here, just taking a moment to thank yourself for taking this time for yourself, for showing yourself some self-care and self-compassion, honoring your yoga practice and your body and how it wanted to move tonight. And then very slowly on your next inhale, start to make your way to a comfortable seated position on your mat. And bring your hands to heart center and just close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Big sigh out, just let it go. Breathe in some good, amazing energy, something that you still need. Breathe out something you no longer need to hold on to. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you all sleep well and enjoy the rest of your evening. Namaste.